Having a baby is one of the most beautiful experiences that a mother who wants to have children can go through. From the feeling your baby getting bigger and moving around in your belly, to the newborn scrunches, to them confusing your face for food and the cuddles. All of it is such an amazing, intimate, beautiful experience. But there's also aspects of it that are not that beautiful and that need to be talked about more, especially in, I would say, the spiritual community, because it's such a portal to diving deeper within our own psyche as women, the emotions that come up during postpartum. When I first had my baby, I remember like 24 hours later just feeling an influx of heaviness, and I knew that my body had just went through a significant change after having given birth, but I was not necessarily prepared for the intensity of the emotions that were going to come. And I would say a large part of that had to do with the fact that I felt them so deeply, had to do with the fact that I was regularly meditating. Like, I would say a couple months right before I had her, I was like in a very consistent meditation practice. And I was accustomed, in working with my therapist, I've been very accustomed to like feeling my feelings without becoming attached to them. So I believe that because I had created so much inner space to rawly feel my feelings, that postpartum it became even more evident of like all the emotions that was going on. Like there, because I've spent a lot of time not distracting myself. So it was definitely a lot. However, um, I knew that this was a golden opportunity for me to dive deeper into my own psyche and to, you know, have even more space around my feelings and not to be afraid of them. So I started looking on YouTube because at one point I saw that I was starting to become attached to the thoughts, because like there's the feelings and then there was also thoughts associated with them. And in my practice, what I work on is being able to feel without being attached to a narrative of what the feeling could mean. So I could just give myself space to feel and then create my own narrative. But I was finding that because the feelings were so raw and so intense, that I was having a hard time grasping on, I mean, not being able to distinguish the raw emotions from the thoughts. So I was like in all the stories, and it was just very uncomfortable. So I started looking online on YouTube. And I'm like, has anybody ever talked about this? Is there any content online that's talking about how um, we can use our postpartum emotions for spirituality? Because I know that in The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, he says something along the lines of, um, when women start to menstruate, that time can be very useful for them to tap into the pain body and to like use that to awaken, to reach like enlightenment. And I was like, that's so true, you know. And every time I would start like around my period for years, I would always, I mean, try, right? I'm human, but try to utilize that to free myself, because I knew that that's a time when the pain body really shows up. So I'm like, okay, I know that the pain body is about to come because I'm about to come my period. My hormones are about to be all over the place. So let me create some space around these emotions. And I mean, it's just, you know, it would change month to month. But especially with this, I'm like, is there any content? And maybe I didn't find it, but I looked it up and I'm like, spirituality and postpartum. And I literally couldn't find anything. So I'm like, okay, I want to create content for what I believe is lacking out there and what I feel like I needed. And I know there's a lot of women right now who are on these deep spiritual journeys, and our psyches are being bust wide open, and we are starting to evolve in such a way consciously that uh you know, it's just important to have content like this out there, especially if you're coming into motherhood. Or maybe, I mean, I don't see anybody watching this that's not postpartum, or if you're pregnant right now, definitely. So this video is for all of us. I know I'm 5 minutes in and I'm just not telling you what the video is for and who it's about. If you made it this far, I love you. Make sure you subscribe. And yeah, I'm gonna I have a list here so I can keep track with it, but I'm going to talk about how to use postpartum high emotions to elevate your spiritual journey. So if that's something that you're interested in, keep watching this video. So the first step to all of this is you want to have a consistent spiritual practice. Now, if you're pregnant and you're worried about postpartum depression, definitely get started on that now. So a spiritual practice can be whatever you deem as like whatever you want. You know, you have to fit it for you. So my spiritual practice includes, it's in my morning routine and in my night routine. So in the morning, what I like to do is, and watch a day in the life. I'm pretty sure I posted it on shorts already by this time I post this video. But what I like to do in the morning is I do a 15-minute meditation session. I journal, and then I read a spiritual book for 15 minutes. And then I go through a gratitude list. Now I don't write it out. I just think about it in my head. That's my spiritual routine. You have to find something that works for you. And then at night, it's pretty much the same thing. I do meditation, journaling, but I script. I do a script. So I have a video on here about, no, that's on my other page. But I script. And what scripting is that you write from the perspective of your future self. So what it does is it aligns you to that aspect of yourself. Like, it's like quantum leaping. I'm not going to get into all of that right now, but yeah, I like to script that night. And then once I'm done scripting, I go into an EFT, which is emotional freedom tapping, where you are tapping on different points of your body to get your body engaged, because we store a lot of trauma in our body. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the book. I never read it, but it's like The Body Keeps Score. And it talks about how whenever we go through something in our lives, the reason why we have memory of it is because of the feeling that it ignites, and then that feeling gets stored in our body. So when things happen that are similar to that, especially if the thought ignites, like if you have a thought that's on a similar track to something that happened to you in the past, it's going to ignite that same feeling because it's stored in your body. So you may not understand like why you keep going through the same things over and over and over and over, and it's because you are storing a lot of your emotions in your body, and then it's connected to your thoughts. Okay, I might not explaining that the best. I'm not 100% versed on it, but I do know that I've been doing EFT for about 2 months now, and it's made a significant difference in my life and how I respond. I may not have explained that the best. I'm still learning. The more I understand it, the better I'll be able to articulate it. So just look up EFT tapping and like the point of it, and you'll see. I just know that it has amazing benefits. And when I'm saying, so what I do is you go through 3 rounds. So I start off the first round with like whatever I'm struggling with, right? I don't feel like I'm good enough. I'm upset with myself because, of decisions that I've made in the past or now, right? And then I tap on these things. And then the second round, I ask questions. I say, what if these things are true? What if I have the ability to change my life and turn things around? What if things are working out for me? And then the last round, I say, things are working out for me, right? I trust all of my decisions. I trust that things are going to my favor, right? And it's more so like very affirmational. So it's bringing these unconscious beliefs that I have to the surface. It's questioning them, and then it's rewriting them. And then I like the tapping because it just like engages my body with it. Hold on, let me drink my Sprite, y'all. I really have to get a Sprite today. I don't know why. I just really wanted a McDonald's Sprite. It's pretty watered down now. So definitely get you a disciplined spiritual practice. I also do yoga throughout the day. I like to go on walks. I think walks are also, I think everything is spiritual. I'm not going to get into all of that, but everything is spirituality. However, when I say a spiritual practice, I really mean a practice that's going to get you present and mindful. So anything that's going to put you like really into the present. We're always in the present moment, but anything that's going to require your attention to be solely on what you are doing, or anything that's going to be you training your attention muscle, your awareness muscle, definitely do that. So whatever that is for you, I definitely recommend meditation, yoga, reading, any physical exercise, because it kind of like tunes you into what you're doing, I think is good. uh Coloring, like if you like to do art, I'm not that artsy, I want to get more into art, but you know, you just have to find something that works for you. So next we're going to talk about feeling without identifying. And like I told you guys, me and my therapist, so what she's really big on is like somatic practices, which involves dealing with the body and not so much being in the head, because I'm very heady, right? I can explain away everything that I got going on. I can like explain it all away, right? And I can be super self-aware, tell you everything that's going on within me. But what that does is it discourages me from feeling, because I'm like thinking too much. So and that's why I started to do EFT, actually, because she's like, you need to figure out some practice that gets you involved with just like being in touch with your body. So find a practice that allows you to go into your body. You could do body scanning meditation. I haven't tried that one yet. Again, yoga is really good for that. It's, just allowing yourself to express through the body and not so much think it out. Like, don't overanalyze your emotions. When emotions come and they're really strong, don't what's going to also occupy them, what's going to accompany them, what's also going to accompany them is thoughts about the emotion. And usually it's some thoughts about the past that don't even have nothing to do with what you got going on right now. Like, it's completely irrelevant. It's stuff from years ago, or maybe a few months ago, or maybe even earlier that day. But it's like, is it relevant? Like, is thinking about this going to make me feel any better? No. But for some reason, this emotion wants to be felt, right? I feel like all of our emotions are valid and they deserve space to be felt. And you can do that without going into the thoughts. And I think there's a time and a place for, the thoughts. And that's why I also have talked to somebody who provides a safe space. Now, for me, that's my therapist. I talk to my mom about some things, but for the most part, I like talking to my therapist, because my therapist, and I have a friend, he's extremely spiritual. Well, let me stop saying spiritual, because I feel like everybody's spiritual, like everything is spirit. So I would say he's extremely level-headed, and he's objective. So I like talking to him because he's very level-headed and objective. So I like to take a lot of things that I'm dealing with to them and sort through my thoughts with them, because I know that they're going to give me a very objective response. Whether I like talking to my mom, but sometimes my mom is like, I'm her daughter, so she's always going to be rooted for me and being on my side. And it's not always the most objective responses that I get from her. So it's just important to talk to somebody that's a safe space and that's not going to be your yes man, your rah rah rah. You're so right. You're so no, because sometimes you are not right. I'm sorry, I keep looking back. I just want to make sure she like good. uh So yeah, find a safe space person to talk to when you are learning. And again, the spiritual practice is really going to help you learn how to feel without attaching meaning, without attaching thought to it. So far we talked about having a disciplined spiritual practice, uh feel without identifying. And guess what? And if the identification happens, if you find yourself feeling deeply and then you find yourself in a story, and if you don't know what that means, just keep practicing and you'll see how you find yourself caught up in stories that are like completely irrelevant to the present moment. They're completely irrelevant. Like, if you're sitting in a room, you're not in pain, like you're not in any physical pain, you're on your phone scrolling, maybe doing nothing, and then all of a sudden you have this feeling of anxiety or sadness, deep sadness, and then you have thoughts that come up, and then it starts talking about something that happened to you in the past, or maybe you just broke up in a relationship, and then all of a sudden these thoughts, and then you like going into the thoughts, and then you feeling like a victim, and you like cursing this person out, whatever the case may be. Start to catch that, because you're creating that narrative. You can remove your attention from that and just feel the emotion and release it. But when you are like creating that narrative, you are feeding into that emotion. You are empowering that emotion. And you don't want to do that, because the emotion is obviously uncomfortable. You want to get that emotion away as soon as possible. So the best way to do that is to feel it and release it, not create the stories about it and feed into it. And I would even say to do that as well for positive emotions, because it's a scale. So either way it go, you're leaning on one side over another. So you want to make sure that you are not doing that for either positive or negative. You want to stay neutral. And neutrality is peace, right? Neutrality is not what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you're not stale faced, you're not like stoic where you are nothing matters, nonchalant. Like, it's not, neutrality is not nonchalant. Nonchalant is where you pretend like you don't care, but there's actually feelings brewing within you that you're just not addressing. No, you're just neutral. There's, and in neutrality there's peace. There's so much openness and space and peace, and that's ultimately where you want to get to, where you're not chasing highs, or you're not addicted to the, people become really addicted to their lows. So you don't want to chase highs, and you don't want to like become addicted to your lows. You kind of just want to be like balanced in the middle, and that's where true peace is. So you don't want to hold on to anything. You want to let go of all. The best moments in your life, let them go, they've passed. The worst moments in your life, let them go, they've passed. I'm not saying to invalidate how these things made you feel and the impact that they've made on you. Absolutely give yourself space to feel into what they meant to you, and then let it go and let it pass. And then love on your baby. Love on your baby. And with all of these things, it's really going to help you get through the postpartum emotions, those heavy emotions. I still feel them even when, I'm only 2 weeks postpartum right now, but like when she latches, I didn't even know that was a thing. When she latches, I start to feel this heaviness on my chest. Sometimes it feels like anxiety, but for the most part, it feels like just heaviness and dark. And it's a name for it. I'll put it here because I forgot. But the lactation specialist, she gave me a paper about it. I didn't even know it was a thing. I thought it was just, I'm like, is this even real? Am I making this up? But it's a thing. So I'm dealing with that. And she was like, just say positive affirmations, just breathe. But because of my practice of not identifying with the stories that my mind is creating and just feeling into it, I don't allow those things to like really get to me or really bother me. I just like, again, I just feel into them, and then I release. So yeah, it's truly amazing to use these things to allow me to spiritually grow, which for me, that just means become more in tune with my environment, with my inner self and my outer self, because it's all one, right? As within, so without. So the more that I become in tune with the inner me, the more that I become in tune with the reflection, which is my external reality. And when I become in tune in that way, I find that things are just flowing. I'm like, I feel good. And yeah, I'm just having a great experience. I'm having a great experience with my newborn. I'm having a great experience entering motherhood. And I'm just really excited for where life is going to take me, and creating more videos like this and just talking about the conscious side of motherhood, and like how being a mother brings this out of us because of the intensity with how women feel, and because our bodies naturally produce this for us. It's not a bad thing that we go through these hormonal shifts. Like, this is amazing for us because it feels more in tune with nature, because nature is very chaotic. So it feels more in tune with nature. But I mean, men have their own thing too, right? But I would say women were definitely more in tune. We're intuitive. We're more intuitive than I would say men are. But I'm not going to go into like men versus women thing. I think we both have equally amazing gifts, skills, and tools to navigate this external reality. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you like, comment, tell me if this has benefited you, if you can see any similarities with our journeys, or if you're going to try anything, let me know down below. And yeah, I love you guys, and I will be seeing you guys soon.